clad Tasmanian devil.
Nice try, bird.
I did see a Tasmanian devil. Come on,
Heyo. So yeah, I think about Charlie all the time, and I wanted to make a vid about some of the things I think are making people think there's something with the Tyler Robinson shooter narrative. I'm not saying he didn't pull trigger or shoot round that day, but I'm going to explain some other options that could have happened, just to create confusion and not only divide like the right and conservatives, but like make the FBI look bad and just put a lot less faith in the system and just more subversive type espionage that's coming out of China. And I mean, I don't know who they paid to do this. It could have been them, their MSS. They could have used operators on the free market or NGOs, or who knows where they came from. I mean, they can afford to pay anybody to do something like this. I mean, money talks. So people pull things off like I talked about in my other video. So 30-06, you can look it up. Feet per second, feet pounds. Right? It's like 2,500 feet per second, usually. I think some of the higher end ones shoot more than that. Or some of the lighter actual rounds, right? Like, because they just get pushed faster. But it's a huge round that, or not round, but like the load is huge. So they use a lot of gunpowder. It's just, the thing is cooking when you shoot out of a 30-06. And when you get up past like 2,500 feet per second, or, you know, even with the bigger bullet, like 2,400 per second, like, this is super fast. And that's why people don't really buy it, because anybody that's hunted with one of these things or shot something from 100 yards, 200 yards, like, it is dramatic. Like, it is super violent. Like, there is, it's like the hydrostatic shock, basically. There's like a pressure wave. I mean, there's a mini explosion when it goes through there. It's just, that's how the physics of it work, and like, that's what does the most damage. So like, you want to get these rounds up to these above 2020, you know, when you get up into those feet per second, it leaves these huge pressure waves. And when you lower the feet per second, it dives off significantly, and it just leaves like a primary wound channel, as opposed to having a big giant pressure wave that expands with explosions and stuff. Like, they're minimized, like, as you bring the feet per second down, right? So, but like, hydrostatic shock's a thing. Like, you know, it's you can see it in a lot of different ways.
Taking 3 shots from 100 yards, firing into 10% ballistics gel that has been calibrated
this
to
is
meet
a
the FBI's
30-06, one of the smaller bullets,
protocol.
so it goes
and while
faster.
ballistics gel isn't an exact proxy for big
150
game,
grain.
it does provide a repeatable medium through which to test various bullets and ammo
Like,
against
look
each
at
other.
that. Those
After
things
the
are
shots,
heavy.
we'll examine bullet
Those ballistic
expansion,
blocks.
weight retention, penetration,
Like,
and
it just
velocity.
rocks that
My
thing.
goal is to provide hunters like you and I with
And
the
you
most
can
objective
see the
information
wound
possible
channel.
to
Like,
help us make the best choice
it's
for
not
our
just a
particular hunting
primary wound
situation.
channel like
The
a
ballistics gel
straw
in this video has been
going
sourced from
through
Clear
like a
Ballistics.
thin
You can
line.
find a
Like,
link
it
in the description.
expands
So let's go
huge.
ahead and shoot it.
And then, like, that's what's left too. Like, if you slow it down, when you see it pass through, like, it expands really far. Like, and there's, if you slow it down anymore, you can see like actual explosion with like flame going off. It's insane.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the velocities for that federal power
So he's
shot,
shooting at 2,800 feet per
30-06
second
load,
into those
150
blocks.
grain 30-06 load.
Like,
At the same,
it
let's
just
go ahead and take a look at
annihilates
the
those
eye with the
blocks.
most of testing protocol. And while ballistics gel isn't an exact proxy for big game, it does provide a repeatable medium through which
Look
to
at
test
that,
various
just
bullets and
wham.
hand them against each other.
Look at that wound
After the
channel.
shots will
You know, there's... Bam. You know, like this kid's got like a ballistic head with gel and like a composite skull in there. Like, I mean, it's serious. Like, that other video a second ago wasn't slow enough or zoomed in enough to show you how far it expanded. It expanded all the way out to the edge of those blocks and then came down. It was like 2-3 inches wide, right? So, like, this kid's shooting a 30-06 into this head, too. And this is what should happen. This is what everybody expects to happen when they see this thing. When they see Charlie Kirk get shot and they'd say it's a 30-06. Like, if you got hit in the neck, and I mean, the kid would have been shooting at his chest or something, center mass. Like, the fact that he hit him in the neck is just, it just makes it more implausible, too. Like, one perfect shot with an assembled weapon that wasn't even put together and zeroed in nicely. Like, to just slap that together in that small window, get one perfect kill shot right to the neck like that off, it's just highly unlikely, you know. So I'm not 100% sure that that's what happened, really. So here's that. Just gone. I mean, there's gel in the camera right now, but he's got another version. I mean, it just exploded. This is what everybody expected to see if it was 30-06. Goodbye. It would have just ripped his head right off his neck. The pressure wave alone. Like, the hydrostatic shock would have just crushed, ripped his neck to pieces. The human neck's only like 5 inches big. This ballistic gel is thicker than that. Like, look at that expansion. Look at that hydrostatic. That's just crazy. And then look, that's like the edge of the blocks. And then look, it shrinks back down. Just like the video with the 30-06 in the beginning. Secondary explosions. Like, look at those. Look at the expansion on that. That's what leaves those big wound channels in ballistic gel. Like, and you saw how much further it actually expanded. Like, see, it's pulling the top of the gel down with it when it collapses on this one. So it's just air pressure, and it's crazy stuff, right? So that's what people expect to see. So, like, what we did see, it looks like something was traveling a lot slower. Like, maybe the round wasn't loaded properly and it was a dud, right? So it didn't hit full power, but it's like the kid was 200 yards away. Like, if it was a nice, good loaded, you know, faster 30-06 round, like up in the 2800s, 200 yards, that round's moving. There's not a lot of bullet drop. He's shooting at a downward angle, sure, right? But now it's a dud. So if it was a hot round, it would have ripped his head off for sure. I don't mean to laugh, but, like, you feel me here? Like, so as you start, you know, you get into the round wasn't loaded right, or it was a dud and just didn't have a lot of now there's bullet drop. So he got that lucky. I mean, he was aiming where? Like, right at his head, and the dud round just luckily landed on the thing. You aim center mass. I mean, it's crazy that the one shot was like that, right? With all these variables in play. Like, and if the kid was that great at shooting up, putting that thing it just doesn't add up at all. In the ballistics alone, say the hydrostatic shock should have ripped his head right off of his neck. And that's not what we saw. And I think that's not what we saw is because that's not the type of gun that shot a 30-06 projectile at Charlie. I think it was a different kind of gun. So like here goes some like garage band like nerds like just playing with stuff, right? They got a bunch of capacitors here. They're gonna make railguns basically because these fucking things are a thing now. People are making these, right? This is not science fiction anymore. And this thing's kind of badass, right? It's kind of clunky, right? Like I said, it's a garage band. But, you know, imagine what the professionals are making, right? So, watch this thing shoot ballistic gel. Like, look at that, right? Those are giant slugs. Those are probably about the size of a 30-06 slug. Like, watch this. Look at that. Thunk. Thump. Thump. Look at that giant cylinder. Just a big-ass cylinder they're thumping into ballistics gel. Right? And, like, so here's this consumer, you know, ready one that, you know, so this thing can't do shit compared to what they can do with this technology right now. This thing's not even that big. So I'm sure, like, a high-level military-only version of this can just shoot way faster or whatever, more, or you could probably make small ones that just like drain the whole battery in one shot, but it's smoking round. Like, look at this thing. This is a consumer grade coil accelerator. It's insane.
Very, very excited here. I've got this in semi-automatic minimum at this point. I do want to generate some energy for you guys. I don't know what these things weigh, so I'll have to weigh them once I get back to the house and caption it here. However, I can get the data. I can get the raw FPS and translate that to...
This thing like launches these like slug things, basically like coin slugs, right? Like, you know, they don't want anybody out there shooting like regular calibers with these things and confusing investigations, so it's designed differently, right? Or maybe that just makes this one work better because it's like a flat surface coin as opposed to just like a cylindrical round or whatever. But the one those guys made in that last video, those are cylindrical, so like it's possible, and it just, you know, you just have to like tune things right in the manufacturing process. So here, I'll continue the video. Sorry.
Energy once we get the opportunity. Let's see exactly what happens on minimum power in semi-automatic. We're going to shoot one round.
Did you hear how quiet that was? Just click. Now, like, if you were standing right next to this guy and he had this thing mocked up to look like a video camera and his big optic was like a gun camera, right? Like, that zooms in amazingly, right? Like, gives you just beautiful optics, like a literal gun camera. Like, and you know, if somebody was standing behind you, it would look like you're just filming it, right? With like a big, like, I don't know, like Hollywood camera with like a boom mic sticking off of it, and like a big like lens thing that you look into, right, to like line the camera up and stuff, and it's got like an imager on it. So like you've got beautiful optics on your thing. No one even knows it's a gun. You're like no one's even thinking you were the shooter. Right? And then, like, right when the thing goes off, you just start reacting like everybody else. You could even have, like, a monopod set up, right? Like, or a tripod and just fumble with that or into the ground, like, right after the shot. So anybody that was standing next to you that heard the, like, click and or just have a mechanism that minimizes the noise altogether. And, I mean, just pulling the trigger right when you heard the sound would totally muffle this thing because 30-06 is super loud. When I show you where I think this guy was, you know, it was really loud there. So, here, I'll keep going.
85 feet per second. If I hit the power button again, it goes from minimum to max. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it a second time and get that mid-setting.
So low mode's like 100 feet per second. Click.
Damn. That was 121 feet per second, and now that we're finally making
Now
it
you're
way out to the target,
120.
I'm gonna go ahead and set the GoPro up. This should have been there the entire time.
Right.
As you guys can tell, I'm
So
legitimately
just listen to that
excited
thing.
about this
Click.
thing, and I'm starting
It's
to miss the
so
fundamentals.
quiet.
I promise you guys. Downrange, and you can see it's a little bit scuffed, but I have no fear toy, so I'm not would do so. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a secondary mid-power shot now that we got the camera down there.
Click.
My laser a hit.
Could have been a laser on a different spectrum than humans can see, but the optic, like the gun camera that was on the camera slash gun slash Gauss rifle, right, had a laser pointer too that humans can't see in our spectrum, but the camera that was on the gun can see it. So it's like gun cameras with stuff like that are like next level, like target acquisition systems, right? Even for a gun. So medium mode, and he's laughing, right? Like, this guy's a gun shooter, and he's like, holy shit, this thing's for real, right? Like, he thought, it was a joke, but he's doing belly laughs because he's playing with a real man's toy, right? And this is just the like consumer version, right? The military version of these things are fucking thumpers, right?
4.
Thump.
122. Alright, so that's what it looks like on mid. Let's see what it does on maximum. Railgun always gets attention. The passerbys took notice, boys. They realized.
Look how small that thing is. I mean, just look how he's holding it. You could have a shoulder cam, right, and just be hidden in the crowd looking like press with something like this. And literally just click. That's all that. Even if you didn't have a real 30-06 round going off very close to you to mask the sound of this thing, it'd be hard to tell what this is just from the background noise. Or, you could have your spotter sit next to you with like a boom mic and like a monopod or something, and just like fluttering it around on the ground, like making noise against the cement or whatever to hide the click too. Like, right? It's not loud.
As we doing some Starship Trooper shit over here. All right, maximum velocity, set on kill. I always want to say that, right? I always want to say that. Phasers on stun, set on kill. It's some cool shit. This is some space shit. We're running with it. Ooh, 148 on the velocity with a much flatter trajectory there. Damn.
It's like 150.
144 on the velocity.
He's
again.
impressed with it, right? That's just the consumer level one. So there's this guy that does like effects or whatever and stuff, and he's thinking it was around 500 feet per second. What he got shot, which would line up, right? Because like this thing thumps him into the meat and into a neck. So you turn this thing up like ×3, and yeah, it's gonna do what we saw. And like I think that's why there's a lot of confusion, because like people aren't used to seeing wounds from this thing, from this kind of weapon, right? So it's like, how did a 30-06 round do that kind of damage and not like do just a primary wound channel with no expansion like you see with the Gauss rifle thing, right? Like it just slides in there. There's no hydrostatic shock because it's not moving at hypersonic speeds. Like the speed is off the thing. The round is huge. It could still be a 30-06 size round, but it doesn't leave the wound channel that one fired from a typical 30-06 like gunpowder loaded round, because it's moving at 2,500 plus 2,800 feet per second. So you get a huge hydrostatic event, a pressure wave event. Once you slow that same size round down to 500 feet per second, 600-700 feet, it just slides in like this, right? There's no wound channel. There's no hydrostatic shock. It's just the primary wound channel. See how that slid right in there like that? It just slides in. Right? This flunk, it just slips right in there. This big giant metal hunk is now in your, you know? It didn't, right? It didn't do what it should. Right? Like, wound channel. This is 25. This is what it should do when you get up into those really high feet per second. It did not do that. Right? That's why we didn't see the head
10%
explode
slow-mo for
off
you.
the neck.
This is gonna look super
Wham! That's
Now,
why we didn't see
what
that.
happened
That's what
was
you
when the
should have
30
saw
axis project-
if that thing was packed with the amount of gunpowder you put in a 30-06 round. They're fucking moving, those rounds, right? So it's just... what you saw doesn't add up. And that's where everybody's at. And we're not used to seeing these Gauss rifles, right? It's not like any of these operators that are out there that are questioning this are out shooting with these Gauss rifles. It's a specialty piece of equipment. So nobody's seen anything like this before. They don't know what to think. Right? So it's like it just doesn't... Hydrostatic shock is a real thing. We saw it. I showed him videos.
This is actually something that seems more intimidating than I gave it credit for to begin. Oh, side,
Like,
right?
this
You got
thing's
shotgun,
insane, and this
semi-auto,
is just the
fully auto,
consumer version.
Medium and maximum. I think all we got to do is hit the trigger.
Like, he's not far, but like I said, that's just the consumer version. And he's shotgunning them right now.
This is the
So they go faster with the... Like, look what he's doing to these steel plates with this thing. He's right next to it, but...
Badass color
you know,
wheel
those are
polish
still
I've
really
got for
heavy.
you guys this
So,
week.
like...
And honestly, I thought that short was going to do better. So go
You
watch
can
it
get
and like
these
that shit
things
for sure for me. It would really help
to
me
go
out.
through somebody's
Got this thing
neck.
set up in semi-automatic
You need to
at
get
this
up into
point.
like the
Maximum
5, 6,
power. I'm just gonna do
700
everything that I
feet per
can
second.
to go ahead and try and be
So they're not going to do that for the consumer model, but the military model has that much heat on it. You can bet your body bottomed out.
Scoot back a little. Oh, that was cool.
You know, that development is what put this on the market. So they just dialed down what they got, and we're like, "Whoa, this is the
no
consumer version."
Optics. Both eyes open, intuitively looking down the rail, proving to me that the rail is parallel to whatever is being used as a barrel. God, that's gratifying, dude.
Look at it rocking them steel plates. That's just the little baby version, right? Like, this is the same gun. I forget what it's called. It's like the Super Coil or something, right? The CA09 coil accelerator. So you can just buy one of these things. It's like a toy, right? Here's a guy playing with one at a gun club. So this is real technology. Listen to how quiet the shot is when he shoots it. Right? Here's the specs. 150, right? 16 joules. That's what made me think of this, because I have pneumatic guns. I have like a HDR that I modded the piston and the air like mechanism, so it shoots a couple joules hotter than out of the box, and I think it's right around 16 joules, right? And like I've shot at all kinds of stuff, and like that's what it made me think of when I saw Charlie get shot. It didn't make me think of anything I've ever shot with a 30-06 from 100, 200 yards. I mean, they do a lot of damage, and like it just rocks the animal when you shoot it. Like, there's deer around me, like white-tailed deer. They're fucking huge. Their necks are gigantic. And, like, you know, it does a ton of damage when you shoot one. Like, that's not what we saw, right? So, everybody's just questioning that. And they're not wrong for doing that. Having thoughts and thinking for yourself is a good thing. Those are good Western values. It's just, listen how quiet this thing is again. It's crazy. He's 40 feet out. Right, is that what that said? Yeah, or no, that's max range. Effective range 20, 30 feet. So he's probably 20 feet, 25. But listen how quiet it is. Click. Like the before part. Before it hits the brick, you can't even hear it. It's just throwing bricks off. This is a consumer version. So this guy whips out like meat and gel too, right? So like he can't get him in there right now from 25 feet. Like it almost goes in there. You see that? It ripped in but then bounced out. But they're little coins too, right? It's not a rifled round like with a tip on it. So it's a little harder to get in there. That's another thing I think why they did that for the consumer version. It's like a safety thing, right? Like requirement or whatever. Or like it was easier to get it to market if you could sell, like these things are really hard to penetrate a human body, right? Or the penetration on them is just not great. So people would approve the sale of it, right? And he keeps playing with it. He's got it on auto, so you know, I don't think that was max power. But I mean, he just knocks it off the pile. I mean, these things got power, is my point. These aren't toys anymore. The military high-end models of these things will definitely kill somebody. And the main point is they're silent. They're just, nobody's used to the sound, even if they do make some kind of sound. What you're hearing is the impact. You don't hear the actual shots. You just hear it hitting this stuff. So that's my biggest point about these Gout rifles, is you could mock it up to look like a piece of camera equipment, like a shoulder cam, a high-end one, and it would have the best optics, target acquisition, all kinds of stuff, right? I mean, this thing could have a computer on it that dials in exactly what kind of feet per second you want and everything. For the shot to do X amount of damage to this, you know, it's pretty easy with computers to do shit like that nowadays, especially with like something like a giant shoulder cam, because you could just throw a lot of extra stuff on this thing or use a lot of that space for extra batteries for more power or whatever, right? So here's him shooting into a rack of ribs. I mean, you see it hitting the gel. Like there's ones that are going through when he slips between the bones of that rack of ribs, and these are coins. These aren't even bullets. So they don't have great penetration power. Excuse me. Just slapping it. See, there's ones right behind it that went through. That's how he was showing that. Grabs another rack. It's a hold my beer kind of guy. It's my kind of people. You know. Us Rittermark folk. We get into some silliness. But we're good people. Hold my beer. Where's my Gauss gun? Just silent. Everything you hear is that just slapping the meat. That's not the gun. You know, electricity just doesn't, you know, there's minimal noises like that. And with like air conditioners and background noise or people talking and stuff like that, like you're just used to hearing like a buzz in the background. So like it's not hard to conceal this type of thing. Like at first, that's what I said. I thought like I have that HDR Umarex gun that I play around with my kid. And that's what made me think of this. But those air guns are just too loud. You can't... What are you going to do with that air pressure? It has to be baffled somehow. And, like, you just couldn't make that silent enough to berate there in a crowd, right? Like, it's different. So then I started thinking, well, electricity could shoot a metal projectile with electromagnetic force, right? And, like, you wouldn't hear nothing, right? So... And, like, there's no, like... On any of the videos, I don't hear like a woo. Like you don't hear the bullet traveling by the crowd. You hear the report from the gunpowder going off, but the round, you never hear the woo, like the bazoo when it goes by, right? Like, and that would indicate to me that it wasn't traveling at 2,000 plus feet per second as well, right? So then it's like, what's my whole point with that, right? Like, So you could take the rifle that was left in the bushes, like the Patsy gun, right? Before this event happened, and you could shoot rounds from it that would put ballistic fingerprints on that round. And like keep it. Like it would keep it intact. Like so you would have basically a Patsy round. So now you have a round that was shot from that gun that's fully intact that you could essentially reload and fire out of another weapon, right? So again, here goes some good old horseman of the mark, you know, having a good old time, holding my beer type stuff. Again, my kind of people.
You got her?
That's a 308 round,
Here, it's still spinning.
which is
It's been forever.
a little bit bigger than a 306 round. So look at that thing. Look how perfect that bullet is still.
Since we shot, it was probably over a minute. I'll certainly lose. At least I can catch the end of it. I think I'm gonna have to do that again. That's 2 times in a row we've shot.
This is the
an
ice
angle.
thing, right? So this is the thing you can look up. Like if you shoot bullets into ice or through like snow and ice, like it takes a lot of the heat off of the round. Like it slows it down, but it doesn't deform it because like the material that it's shooting into is softer than the material in the bullet. You know, or from like a super like longer distance, you know, like there's just, you got to look it up. It's cool. Like, and the round will just end up spinning because there's the rotational force too. So like when you can slow the round down enough so that the rotational force takes over, this is what eventually happens through the material. So these guys are just out dicking around, shooting whatever, and they end up finding this thing. They probably heard it spinning or just skipping around on the ice or whatever and ran over like, and started filming it. And this is all over YouTube. You can Google it. Google rifle round spinning on ice. People do it with all kinds of stuff. This is a thing.
You got her? Oh, it's recording. Here, it's still spinning. It's been forever. Like, how long later? Like a minute almost? Almost. Since we shot, it was probably over a minute. I'll certainly lose. At least I can catch the end of it. I think I'm going to have to do that again.
Look at that round. It's got the rifle marks on it. So it's been fired from his gun. You could take his gun and this round and go to a lab and confirm it and say, yeah, you shot this bullet, buddy. Even if it goes in fragments, there's fragments of it that still have these same striation marks. So you could line things up. They do it all the time. And the FBI is really good at it. So now you got this round. And that's what you use in the Gauss rifle. Right? And the Gauss rifle's not going to like mark it up too bad. It's just, it's like a smoothbore thing, right? Like these things just thump through. Like I was showing you with that Gauss rifle, this thing, right? These are just like smooth cylinders and they're not even tumbling in there. Like they're entering in nice and straight, right? So there's ways to make this happen. You could even take the bullet, right? And like 3D analyze it after you shot it and recovered it like this. And the bore in the camera gun, you know, could be, you could make that put the same marks on this thing. So there's a couple different ways that doing this could basically let you have a copy of the same bullet or this original bullet and still shoot. They could have shot this rifle out of Tyler Robinson's Patsy rifle, or shot this round out of that weeks ahead of time, a month ahead of time, just beforehand, right? Like recovered it and then did whatever they needed to do to set up their apparatus to fire this type of round, 30-06, 100 yards, right? Which I'm going to show you that in a minute because it's about half the distance of what his shot was, Tyler's. And you could put this down range at 700 feet per second, which would be more consistent with the damage that we see happen to Charlie. Like, now, I don't think he got shot from behind or, I think it was right in line with where they said he was because you can see the entrance wound, and they say there's no exit wound, so a 30-06 would have just ripped his head off like we saw in that other video. But something, this round, around this size, this is a 308, but a 30-06 is a bit smaller, but looks about the same as this. So a 30-06 round, just like this, moving it, say 700 feet per second, is consistent with what we saw hit him from the front, right? Not at 2,500 feet per second. That would have been a hydrostatic event that would have been very bad, right? There wouldn't have been some leakage and then no exit wound. Like it would have, right? We saw something just slide right in there, right? Like we seen with this, just sliding in. No hydrostatic event, minimal hydrostatic event, because there was still a hydrostatic event with these big giant slugs. You see that ballistics gel flopping around, but not on the level of a 30-06. Like, that's a whole nother just animal. Like, insane hydrostatic event. Look at how far that expands when it hits. It's crazy. Look at that. Look at that huge bubble. You see that huge bubble right there and all this? That would have been Charlie's neck. And look, this is like 3 Charlie's necks, right? Thick. So it's just, look at that event. And look at that wound channel. There's just no way. It would have ripped his head right off. So I don't believe it for a second. And I've hunted with those guns. I've shot game with a 30-06. I was cleaning, my dad was showing me like how to clean this 22 I had when I was probably like 10, 11 years old. And he was cleaning his 30-06. We were sitting on the front porch. And my mom was really pissed, so I never forget this. It was just crazy. Like, they're very similar rifles, just bolt action, whatever. We're doing the same. He's showing me how to take the, all this stuff. So we're getting to the part where we're almost done. We're just like oiling up the rifles now. We both got rounds sitting there because we just got done shooting. So we're like cleaning up. And like we're sitting in the front yard and this like rabbit came running across. It was probably 75 yards, maybe 50 yards out in the yard. We had a big mowed area. And my dad just looked at me and he had this big cigar and he slid one of his 30-round rounds and he shot that. The rabbit was gone. Like, there was nothing left. There was, like, some pieces of fur and, like, it's like what you saw in that video. And, I mean, this ain't when you think rabbit, like, this is a big-ass wild rabbit. It was chunkier than Charlie's neck. And the rabbit, I couldn't find pieces of it. It was fun. It was disgusting. My mom was so mad because she, little critters ain't going to come around. Calling my dad a jerk and stuff. It was pretty funny. I'll never forget it. I mean, I thought it was kind of evil at the same time, but it happened, right? This is the kind of stupid shit drunk redneck fathers do. This is why I hung out with my grandpa a lot, right? We'll just leave it at that. Ballistic fingerprinting is a thing, so you get that. Now you've got to copy this bullet, like I said, right? You've recovered this. You can shoot it out of your own version of a Gauss rifle that's going to be around 700 feet per second, which would be consistent with what we saw get lodged in Charlie's neck, right? Now, this guy thinks it came from behind, but I'm not too satisfied with that. Like I said, I just don't... There's no exit wound. The doctor would have found the exit wound. So it just went in like that. And it just slid in there. There was no hydrostatic event. And that just makes me think that It had to be. That's why I thought it was my HDR Umarex air gun that lobs these 50 caliber balls, and how that slides into things with a bunch of force, but it doesn't. There's no hydrostatic event like if I shot with my 22 or my big rifles, like that my grandpa had. They would just hit a lot harder and do a lot more damage. You know, like talking about huge hydrostatic events like that. I knew of those when I was a kid. Like when you shoot a 17 HMR too and shoot a 22, right? Like that's the difference of that. Like if you shoot a plastic milk gallon container full of water, fill 2 of them full of water, put them right next to each other, take a 22, could be a Magnum, shoot it right through the middle, it'll put a hole through both sides and start pissing water out of the holes, right? The jug will jiggle a little bit, but that's what will pretty much happen. When you shoot the 17 HMR, which is like a significant step up in feet per second, when it hits that same, it's a smaller round, 17, 22, smaller, but the load behind it is just like double. So, I mean, the round is cooking. When it hits that same milk jug, that gallon plastic milk container full of water, it explodes it. This is the difference, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about. So, like, the force just doesn't make sense. And if it was a bad round, like I explained earlier, it couldn't have. The shot was a perfect kill shot to the neck. So, like, it's hard to believe. It's a lot easier to believe that somebody had, like, a really high-end gun camera optics setup. They had a laser targeting system, probably in a spectrum that humans don't see, but the camera could pick up to assist its, like, augmented targeting acquisition, shootings. They got all kinds of crazy stuff for guns now. It's nuts. Think like Zorg from The Fifth Element, when he's got that gun that like shoots into mannequins, and it's like they return to it, right? Like, the ZF1. That's what it is. There it was. Replay button. Right, so just crazy optics. Think about stuff like this. I mean, I'm not talking about something that's on this level, but think along the same lines. It's just a lot easier to hit something, right? I don't know. Call me crazy. But, there's really better scopes that could have guaranteed he was going to get that next shot. And say half the distance from 100 yards, it was a lot easier. So, I mean, this is a guy shooting one of these air guns, like I'm talking about my Umarex HDR that lobs 50 caliber balls. Sorry about my voice, I'm still sick. I'm hopped up on steroids, so I'm like, I got a mild fever, and I'm fighting, and I'm just thinking about this stuff. And I want people to stop picking on my friends in Israel. I want us all to get together and, like, basically do the Lord of the Rings for the West and the world. But whatever, I'm a big nerd that likes to sing songs with people. And yeah, anyways. So this guy's shooting them 750 feet per second. See that wound channel? That's the kind of hydrostatic event we saw. Not one from a 30-06 that expanded to the point that was going to the top. Like, watch this. Right? You see that? Look at that wound channel. These are just, it's like pushing a straw through there, right? Or like a coat hanger. Right? And then look at those little tiny hydrostatic events, because you just don't have the feet per second to get that out of this, right? See, that's just, it's only a couple inches wide. This is what we saw. We didn't see a 2,500, 2,800 foot per second round strike Charlie in the neck. And if the round shot from that Mauser Patsy gun wasn't loaded properly and only shot like 700, 800 feet per second, the chances of him hitting him in the neck like that from 200 yards with the scope that was on that gun are just so low. You just can't convince me that one shot was enough for him to do it. And, like, where was he aiming at that point? Like, he was clicked in knowing that that round wasn't loaded properly, too. There's just no way. So you can see that hydrostatic event. And then watch this hydrostatic event again, right? Look at this bubble expansion. This whole thing is getting ripped in half right now, right? Like, impact. You can already see the pressure wave forming around the block of air pressure that's going to destroy this thing. Right? The rounds already went through because it's that fast. And that's afterwards. That's the cascade effect. Wham! Look at that giant bubble. It's pushing down that table like a son of a bitch, you can believe, too. And the sides are being expanded out almost the width of these blocks. And like I said, that's like 3 of Charlie's necks right there, wide. So this is what people expected to see. Right? That's what people expected to see. Was that giant bubble that was going to rip his head off. Look at that bubble. And that would have been just like the ballistics gel head dummy. This is what people expected to see.
Throw it in about a 10%
You know, again,
for you. This is
again, we're all just redneck, you know, horsemen from the Ritter mark, but we ain't stupid, right? So that's why nobody believes this. Not because we're evil. You know, a lot of people are talking about Israel, which isn't cool, but I think they're just misguided and can be saved.
We're gonna throw it in about
Well, look at
10%
this.
slow-mo for
This
you.
is what should have
This is
happened.
gonna look super
Just
cool.
huge hydrostatic event right after the bullet went through and ripped his whole neck off his shoulders. But that's not what we saw. We saw a much slower round slide in there, right? Like, how come his head's not getting ripped off? That's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to be graphic, but, like, this is 700 feet per second. This isn't 2,800 feet per second. That's what we just saw. There's still a smaller pressure event, right? But 2,800 feet per second would have ripped his head off. You just don't see that type of pressure wave. There's no expansion. The expansion is minimal. Which is like more consistent with this. Right?
Alright, here's the round ball.
750 feet per second. 50 caliber round.
Alright, here's the round ball.
So 30-06 rifle round. About the same FPS. Not going to rip your head off. It's going to kill you when it shoots right through your neck where you breathe and your spinal cord, you know, like, that's a neck is a kill shot. The middle of your neck, you're dead. Like, I'm sorry. Right? But that's what we saw, not the giant expansion on the ballistics shell. Right? Not that. That's a 30-06 round. That's huge hydrostatic event. You saw how much it bubbled up. I've shown it like 10 times. Look at that. You can see there's the thing zipping through. This gray area is just air pressure building up because it's about to unleash the fury, Mitch. Right? Bam! Look at that huge bubble. Like, that's what you're expecting to see, is it just explode. Look at that hydrostatic event. It would have just ripped his head right off. And that's his head going flying right there. I don't mean to be graphic, but this is why nobody believes it. So, here's a Umarex hammer rifle, which shoots, I think, about, 750 feet per second, right? This is an air rifle, so it's louder, but you could get a Gauss rifle dialed in right at this. That's ballistics gel. 50 cal. You see that? See that straight line? That's what we saw. We did not see it, just flopped it a little bit, right? Just like we saw a minimized hydrostatic event. Not a 2,800 feet per second round impacting. We saw that. We saw 700 feet per second round impacting Charlie. And it could have very well been a round shot from Charlie Kirk's gun, as I explained in this video.
You got her?
Oh, it's recording.
Easy to recover,
Here, it's still spinning.
still
It's
in
been
perfect
forever. Like,
condition
how long later?
to
Like
be
a
fired.
minute almost.
And now it's got ballistic
Since
fingerprints
we
on it.
shot, it was probably
Because it
over a
was
minute.
shot out of that rifle. Right? Or this kid's
Don't
rifle.
certainly lose.
So in court, that all holds up.
You got her?
Oh, it's recording. Here, it's still.
Alright, so the air guns are what made me recognize the wound characteristics during the event and the difference between a hydrostatic event from a 2,800 feet per second round and a 700 feet per second round, which is what we saw go into his neck. So when you look at this, somebody flew a drone over this after it happened. This guy right here. Who knows what his deal is or why they let him do this, but this is right here. This is where Charlie Kirk was, on the top of this building right here, the black roof that I'm circling with the mouse. So he was laying like right there, or like right here in the corner, somewhere in this area I'm circling. So it's probably right here, right? And there's his line of sight on Charlie, straight down in the middle of that American flag. Now, as I'm drawing this line, what do you notice right here? A balcony. And this is about half the distance, too. Same general trajectory, right? Half the distance. Like, the downward trajectory would only be off by a couple degrees, which would be hard to, like, prove from a ballistics report, but the entry and the wound channel, the primary wound channel, would be in line with a shot that came from right where Tyler was sitting. Now look at beyond here. See these two giant pools? He could have just lumped around into there. That could have been his whole job that day. You know, I'm not going to kill anybody. I'm just going to scare the shit out of them and make a point out of gun violence. You know, all my boys that I've talked to and part of the coordination, or it could have been siloed. Who knows? He might have just took they should check these two pools for a 30-06 round, because he shot a shot. We all heard it, right? Nobody could have shot a 30-06 down here with all the students standing here, and nobody would have noticed it. You would have been outed immediately. But if you were standing on this part that's half the distance, it's in the same trajectory of the kill shot, or alleged kill shot from the patsy, who I think's a patsy, and you had a Gauss rifle like that, if you just shot right when you heard it, no one would know the difference, because you can't hear that thing. When it just click, it's that loud. Like toast, 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 right? From Mission Impossible. Like, it was just, and all the background noise, like, you'd have been hidden with a nice shoulder cam. You were standing right here, which is right in line with Tyler's shot, with a video camera, and I guarantee there's cameras around this giant vestibule area that has a railing and is like balconies for people. And we saw people standing in the videos on all these areas. So if you check the cameras from around here, right when the shot happened, I guarantee you there's a guy standing here with a big-ass shoulder cam with like a boom mic on it, or maybe he had like a guy standing next to him with a boom mic who was actually his spotter, right? So like, and they had some high-level shoulder cam modded Gauss rifle espionage thing that like had a sweet gun camera optic on it with some laser target assistance that no one could have seen with their naked eyes, or whatever, right? Like that might be a little wild, but just a sick gun optic that you could put on a video camera that looks like the input for the camera, right? Like the feedback where you look to line up the shot, right? You could be standing right here and nobody would notice. They would just think you're there to cover the event. And then after the shot, all you got to do is skirt. You could just run in this door, go down, be out over in this area, or go that way or whatever. Like nobody would have. They would have just thought you were running away you were a journalist. That was just, nobody would think you were the shooter with a gun, right? So this guy's taking all the heat now, right? That's up on this roof. Tyler, the patsy. And, you know, like I said, I think his round is up here. Hopefully somebody didn't grab it already, but I don't live near Utah, but I bet somebody could go fishing with a big magnet or something in these two ponds and find a 30-06 round. Right? Or maybe it like skipped over into this field or something and somebody finds it when they're playing sports or out of these trees. I don't know. Check this area, right? Somebody right here with the same setup I just described had the same exact shot and could have thumped one right in there with precision, Gauss power. Like you could program into one of those, like what the distance is. You know it's 100 yards. You could have the perfect amount of power going into there to make the round hit exactly where it needs to be, right? With the minimal amount of noise and all that. And that's why we saw a round enter his neck without a hydrostatic event and rip his head off. We just saw it go in and slide in. And I mean, when you do that kind of damage in someone's neck, even if it's just at the 700 feet, like that wound channel's that's gonna kill you. Like, look at how thick that is. That's a human neck's only 5 inches big, so that's like 3 inches, right? Like, well, where's his gauge at? So that's like a 2.5 inch wound channel from top to bottom. That's half your neck. Like your air spot, your nerve in the spinal cord, and if the doctor said it hit his spinal cord too, it probably just severed. And the bullet might not even have hit it and just kind of is stuck in the meat in the back like these ones are. But when it went by the spinal cord, this hydrostatic event would have shattered his spinal column and the nerve. So he just went down. I mean, it was perfectly, you get shot in the neck, you're done. I mean, right? So that's the wound channel we saw, not the gigantic head blow off wound channels that we see from a 30-06 round going 2,800 feet per second. So as you can see right here, that's where the real shooter was. Tyler was a patsy, and I think he took a shot over the top of everybody. That's why you don't hear the doo that went straight to Charlie, because it's just far enough away from everybody that they can't really hear it. Right? If it went right over the top of their heads, they would have fucking heard it. So a 750, 800, 700 feet per second round going over those same people's heads, you probably won't hear that. There's not enough like hydrostatic pressure to like vocalize to everybody. Or even if it does, it's just not loud enough to get through the crowd noise, right? Which a 2,800 feet per second round would have. So here's another shot from right down. This is that balcony I'm talking about right here. And this is the top of Charlie Kirk's memorial, right? Like this guy's just walking around at the area. So he went there with cameras. They let him go. I don't know why. But you can see, like, watch, he starts looking to the left. There's Charlie. So the shooter's right up here. Right? He's gonna walk over there in a second. He's right along this balcony. That other building's up here. When he gets by this cement waterfall feature, you'll see it, which is in this shot right here. There's those two little statues, right? Like, that are going to come up in the shot. So he's just at the top of that grassy vestibule thing or auditorium like thing that goes down to the ground, right? I don't want to look at that son of a bitch. Because even if he didn't kill him, he was involved, and I just hate these leftist scumbags. So they can all kiss my ass, basically. So here's the shot. Or is he already too far up? No, there it was, right there. Oop, too far. There it is. This is where Tyler was. Right here where I'm circling. This is that balcony. So, I mean, just look at that line of sight. It's perfect. And it's still the same trajectory going down. Right? Like, it's just a bigger triangle. And from the same spot. So there's really no way to tell. You know, he's at an elevated position that lines right up with it. Like, the whole thing lines up nice. And I showed you in that other one, just look at this spot. It's just perfect. Egress in so many different directions. No one thinks you're the shooter anyways. So you just run away looking kind of scared or whatever, or concerned for your equipment. You're already concerned because you just fucking shot somebody, right? So you just fit right in. I mean, just look at this. Look at that. Right? And like, you're not going to hit that guy in the back of the head or whatever. So it would have been the same trajectory. But, because this area is like down, right? So, and you can see from that other shot that like, that's where it's coming from, right? Like that, this area is down. See, so he was way down here. So, like, at the angle it comes up from here, you still go by that spot in that balcony, and then as you go further up, you get to the top of the building. Like, you know, it's the same angle of the triangle, it's just bigger, right? So it's just wild. So you've botched the whole investigation from the start, because now you're looking at this kid, you know, this is the perfect kind of like Mission Impossible, right? Like stuff that like goes on. It's pure theater. So this guy was on a plane probably the same day and gone. Nobody ever was looking for him. He never stood out on any cameras they were reviewing. They weren't looking for that. I guarantee if you review, there's a guy standing right here with a big, like, obscenely expensive piece of video equipment pointed right at Charlie, with possibly a spotter with like a quote boom mic that's probably some kind of battery pack assist or like imaging assist or whatever. Just having a spotter is good. So you can just concentrate on while you're taking the shot, they can watch around you and they can go to you for cues after the shot. Like, right? Like, where are we going? Who's the threat? Did anybody notice? Right? Like, stuff like that. So, and these are the people that did it. CCP. Here's them with their ignition plan that they talked about like a year or two ago in their big CCP meeting. It's a thing. They call it the ignition plan. They're trying to get India to start a civil war, and just like they are here, they're just subverting India, subverting America. Right? Xi Jinping's got direct ties with Hamas and Iran. Right? Like, these are Asian people telling you this. This Jennifer Zhang, this Chinese lady's telling you what's going on. I'm surprised. She's probably not alive anymore. Who knows? Anyways, this is just what they're doing. The ignition plan. Right? India's not good. America's not good. They're just trying to destroy the West. Israel's not good. The philosophy of chaos. So then they can win without even firing a shot. This article is really good. Okay? And they call it the 3 battle plan. This is one of the oldest tricks in the communist PLA books. Right? So, 3 major battles for your enemies. They're trying to take us down, but they don't want to do the work. And that's the best way to do it. I mean, you know. That's what they do. And then they don't have to go fight the war. They just let people destroy themselves. That's what's happening in America with the woke left and the Confucius. I explained all this in my other video. So this isn't anything new, you know. The three warfares of today seek to break adversarial resistance and achieve Chinese national objectives with little or no actual fighting. It's Chinese three warfare. This is like, I'm just, you know, I'm nobody. I don't have classified access. I don't have any discovery. There's no one behind me. I'm just podunk boy searching on the internet, and I can tell you the story. So, you know, I don't know. This is just how people operate, you know. Like, here goes, the CIA made one of these a long time ago. It's a 22 caliber inside of a Pentax camera. It's a mock-up. They did this. Like, it fires a shot right out the lens. It does, looks exactly like a camera. Look at this thing. You pull the, like you're taking a picture, and it fires the shot. So we've done this already. This is not beyond what we've imagined or have already done. This is normal stuff, right? So, I don't know. We got to figure this out. Like, Israel is our ally. We are a Judeo-Christian alliance. Like, China is making us fight with each other. They're funding Hamas. They want all the leftist people on our side with Palestinian gay flags, and to just think Israel's terrible because they're defending themselves. I mean, this is normal country building for any country in the West. Like, you can't hold, this is how it works. So, I mean, yeah, people are dying, but they shouldn't have killed people in the first place, right? So, don't fuck around, you won't find out. It's basically that simple, you know? I mean, we could all form an alliance of Judeo-Christian values, or we're going to be conquered by this evil that's coming out of the CCP, right? Like, that's why I threw that picture up that I mocked up a second ago. Like, Donald Trump, like Theoden of the Rittermark, Aragorn, the half Numenorian, right? Return of the King, you know, put the King of Gondor back on the throne, and then it's peace of men, right? So the White City was always like Israel to me, and this is them at Dunharrow, right before the Battle of Helm's Deep, just looking over the troops as men when they're about to go draw swords together, right? So these are iconic moments. We have to like engage this alliance, right? That's the battle of their time against evil, or they're looking over. It's a key moment. You know, that part of that movie gives me hope for us to work together, you know, lest we perish to these dark forces. Like I said, America's like Rohan, like the Rittermark, and Israel's like Gondor, the White City. And like, you can look up pictures of the symbol of Gondor, and it looks like a freaking Hanukkah. I swear to God. Look at that. Look at the tree of Gondor. Tell me that doesn't look exactly like a menorah, right? I mean, am I crazy? I'm probably a little crazy, but it's all right. It's a good kind of crazy. Normal people are scary, right? Quote unquote. I don't know. So, like, we need leadership in the West, and there's a culture like Israel that's used to this. They've been dealing with it for a long time, and they really just, I hear a lot of, like, you know, we fight the war over here so you don't have to fight it there. Like, you can't say that to people, right? Like the people of the mark have answered the call for the White City over the centuries, right? Like over the years, quote unquote. Like we answered the beacons many times. We honored the call to action, right? So like America's Israel's ally, and we have been. We've always supported you guys, probably more than a lot of anybody else, or more than a lot of other people. So we're your friends. We help Israel or Gundor, right? Like maybe not our people weren't there dying, right? But a lot of them have over different conflicts, and we definitely supply stuff to keep you guys going, right? So like acting like that's like acting like Boromir basically, and like you just can't. The whole like we fight them there, so you don't have to deal with them with like some kind of like air of you're better than somebody because the war came to your front step first and we weren't there, and maybe we came, like I said, we might have came over, but whatever, like that's what happened, right? Like the burglary wasn't at my house tonight, it was over on the other side of the county. I couldn't have came to help you. It is what it is, right? Like sorry, like here's some help for recovery, and here's some some weapons to throw in the windows for next time. Like we got your back. Sorry I wasn't there. So you can't really act like Boromir does, and it Boromir's character arc kind of shows that that's really not what you should be doing. And during this conversation, you can see how pissed off Aragorn is at him for acting like this here, because it's not right. You got to be better than this. You have to have better leadership than this.
Long has my father, the steward of Gondor, kept the forces of Mordor at bay. By the blood of our people are your lands kept safe.
Look at Aragorn. He's pissed. He's like, Boromir, dude, shut up. Like, you can't say shit like this and point fingers at people for the reasons I just explained. So that whole spiel kind of has to stop, right? I don't know. And, like, you can be all about yourself all the time and make sure you and your tribe is good, but when we have to ally as men of the West, not our individuals, whatevers, right? So, like, here goes governing dynamics to explain that, too. It's not just some Lord of the Rings fucking allegory, right? Like,
best result comes from everyone in the group doing what's best for himself, right? That's what he said. That's right. Incomplete. Okay? Because the best result will come from everyone in the group doing what's best for himself and the group.
Governing dynamics. Businesses use this. The guy won a goddamn Nobel Prize. So if you're just going to do things that are only good for you all the time, it's not really going to... It may not like be terrible, but you can do so much better if you do what's good for you and the group, which would be the Judeo-Christian countries, right? Or your Christian brothers and sisters. Like Mark Levine said, when you take the Judeo out, it's bad. When you take the Christian out, it's the same thing. So we're in this together, right? Like we got to start. The West needs leadership right now. America needs leadership, and we need some help. And I think we can beat this evil of the CCP if we all work together. And the woke mind virus that's worked its way into the American politic and this anti-whiteism crap is the same as anti-Semitism. So I hope people that watch my content can understand that Israel is one of our best friends, if not our best friend. And like realize that the CCP is getting us stirring shit up, is just shit stirring. And we gotta like work together and stop being tempted by the so-called devil, because it's ripping our alliances apart. And I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a podunk aerlingus from the Rittermark. I pray we share the warmth from the light of the White City. We have answered calls to protect throughout our honored alliance. So that's my 2 cents. I'm Big Dork, though. Everybody take care.